Assalamu alaikum, my name is Taimur Sikandar and today we are going to create another Android Studio tutorial. In this tutorial we will be creating a splash screen with some animations. So let's quickly look at what we are going to create. Open Android application and you can see a splash screen with some animations, and after the 5 seconds our new screen is appearing. So let's close this one and rerun the application. So we have three things: the lines, the logo and a tagline. And after 5 seconds the splash screen is over. So when we go back, so instead of going to the splash screen, our application is now closed. So let's see how we can create this. Open Android Studio project. If you don't know how to create a new project, you can check the video, the link is in the description, or you can click here to watch the video. Okay, let's go to the XML, open the text file, and let's quickly remove this hello world. But before going to design this splash screen, we have to change the app bar, or we have to remove the app bar of our app. So for that, go to the resources, go to the values, and inside the values open the styles file. In styles, change this dark action bar to no action bar. So this will simply remove the top app bar with no action bar. Okay, so let's get back, close the styles, and inside this XML let's change the constraint layout into the linear layout, and also make its orientation to vertical. So basically what linear layout will do, linear layout is a layout which will stack our elements one after other. So in vertical it will stack the first one at the top, second one below it, and third one, and so on. So as we know, our design is divided into three parts. The first part contains the lines from top to bottom. So we have a first section, the second section contains the logo, and in the third section we have a slogan or a company name. So for that we will create three layouts to divide our structure. So the first one is relative layout. Width will be the match parent, height will be wrap content. Okay, inside this relative layout we have to create three lines. So let's quickly create a line. I am creating the line with view. Keep in mind you should use V, the capital V, for the view. The small one will create errors at the runtime. So view layout width will be 20 dp and height will be, I think, 50 dp for the first one. Yes, it's enough. Okay, to add some colors, you can simply add color inside this view, but I am adding the backgrounds. So for the backgrounds I need to add these backgrounds inside this drawable. So let's go to, so I have these few lines, simply copy them. These are the images basically, and inside this drawable right click and paste these all four, or one image or all the images. You can paste images like this way. Okay, now we have images. So inside this view we can add the background. The first one will be, I guess, the white one. Okay, we have a white line here. We can see a white line over here, but it is not visible because we haven't changed the color yet. So simply change its background color, 1F, 1F and 1D. So we have a white line, so let's place this white line at the center horizontal true, Okay, and also we have to assign a ID because the relative layout work relative to some other things, so we have to place the lines one after other, so we have to give this ID. ID is the first, I guess, first line. Okay, close this one and copy, paste, change ID to second line. Let's change white into red line again. Now we do not need this center horizontal because we want to place this next to the first line, so we will write to write off some ID. That ID will be the first line. So now you can understand why we are creating these IDs. So we place this one right side of that ID, of that particular view. So now we have two lines. Let's change its length to 100 dp. Also add some margin left. I think will be 8 dp will be enough. Yes. Okay, now copy. We need almost 2, 3, 4. Second, third line, fourth line, FY fifth, and the last one is sixth line. Okay, now we have 6 lines. Yes, 1, 2, 3 to 6 lines. Change it to 200 dp. Yes, 200, and the next one will be 200, I guess, and this one will be 120 or 220, and the last one is, I guess, 100 will be enough. Okay, so let's change their positions. This is after the first line, this will be after the second line, so this will be after the third line, this will be after fourth line, and the last one will be after fifth line. Okay, now we place them, change its 100 to 150. Yes, it's looking good now. So now we have to change the colors, white, red. I think white and red will be pretty good here. Change it to green. If you need these color codes, I will give these color codes and the whole code inside the description. And also this will be the white one. Yes, now it's looking pretty good. So let's close this relative layout. We are done with our first box. So if we click here, so we have created our first box. The second box will also be a relative layout with match parent width, means full width, and height will be wrap content. Okay, now we have a relative layout. Inside this relative layout, we need a text view. You can use any image, logo, whatever you want. So I am using a simply text. Will be wrap content. Text will be, I think, A. Change its text size to 150 sp. So I told you before, always use sp for the text size and never use dp, it is not recommended. Layout this A to the center, so simply write center horizontal true, change its color. Color will be white. Now we need to add its font family. So how we can add a font family inside our project? Go to the design, click the text view, and inside this attributes search for family or search for the font. So now we have some predefined fonts here from the Android. So we will go to the more fonts, and we have all the Google fonts in here. So I will search for where is B here, the Balu one. Click OK. This will add that font. Now we need to simply change the font. Now we have the first box, the second box, and the remaining is the third or the last one. Okay, let's close this relative layout as well and create our last relative layout. It will be wrap content and wrap content. No, relative layout width will be match parent. Okay, inside this relative layout we have to create another text view. So width will be wrap and height will be wrap content. Text, you can use your own text, but I am creating Android developer here. Change its size. Text size will be 24 SP. I think it's enough. Yes, it's good. Change the color to white. Make it center horizontal, true to make it horizontal. Now we have a problem here, little problem. So what's the problem is that we have our first box, second box, and our third box. Tagline or the slogan or whatever it is at the bottom, just above, a little above from the bottom over here. And also if we change the screen size, you can see it is just after this box. So how we can do this? We will add another linear layout. Height will be match parent and width will be match parent. Okay, for aligning the lines you can press Alt Control L. Okay, now we have match parent and change its gravity to the bottom. So now we placed our relative layout, this whole layout, and inside this layout we have a text view, so we can successfully, so we simply placed this relative layout inside this linear layout, which has a height of match parent, means it will cover the whole remaining height. Okay, now it is at the bottom, but we want to make it a little above from the bottom, so add margin bottom 50 dp. So it's good now. Let's change the screen size. You can see it is now at the bottom. Okay, pretty good. Now we have to change this color. Let's go to the design. Inside the design, so at this layout we have a text view. Select this text view and find its color. Click on the text view and make it a little less, a little grayish. Okay, pretty good. Now we can change its family, its font family as well. Go to the font family, more fonts, and we will use this cursive regular fonts. Click OK. We have a cursive font. Okay, now our design is ready. Let's quickly run and test how it is looking. Okay, now we can see that we have a top bar over here which is green, which is green in color. So we have a top bar, so we also want to remove this top bar, the top line. So how we can do this? We can simply write a line inside our Java file to remove this. Go to the main activity. So inside the main activity, simply above the set content view, you just have to paste this line. So if you are getting this errors, now you can see the line is gone and our splash screen is covering the whole screen of our device. Okay, let's add some animations. So to add animations inside our project, we need to create some additional files for the animations. So let's go to the resource, right click inside the new, create a new Android resource directory. So change the directory name to anim, that means animation. Click OK, and now we have a folder here with the name of anim. Right click on that folder and create a new animation resource file. We will give the name to this file top animation. We will quickly create all these files: top animation, bottom animation, and the last one is middle animation. Okay, now we have three files: top animation, bottom, and the middle animation. So for the animations in Android Studio, we have bunch of files. So in Android we are limited to some predefined values. We are going to use, or we can only use these 4 to 5 predefined variables: the translate, rotate, scale, alpha, and the set. So in this tutorial we are going to use this translate and the alpha one. So the translate will basically move our elements from one place to another. So in translate, write Android colon duration, and it will be equal to 1500. From y delta means from y-axis, are we moving this line, the top animation, from y? Yes, we are moving. So we will move from minus 500% to the 0%. So now we also have to define the x delta. So this is the 0%. Okay, now we have a translate. So we defined our translate animation. Now we will create another animation which is alpha. Alpha is basically a fading animation. So from alpha means from 0.1 means from invisible to visible, to alpha 1.0. So this is basically, you can say, opacity inside web. Now we have a duration here as well. Simply copy that. Okay, now we have our top animation. Copy this, go to the bottom, paste this inside the translate. Now the bottom translate works again, it works in y-axis. So we need to remove this minus and change it to 100%. So alpha will remain same. Again, inside the middle one, we just need to paste this, and now we are not moving our middle animations or the logo y-axis. So we will simply write 0% in the y delta and minus from minus 200% to 0% on its original position. Okay, now we created 3 animations. Now we want to use these three animations inside our code. So it's pretty simple. Use animations in the Java file. We simply need to define the variables. Animations, the variable will be animation. The first one is top animation, bottom animation, and the last one is middle animation. So we have these three variables, so simply call these animations or assign these variables to animations. So our top animation is equal to animation utils dot load animation. So load this animation to this activity from r dot anim folder dot which animation, the top animation. Okay, now control D to duplicate, change this top to bottom animation and this to middle animation, also this top to bottom and this one to middle animation. Pretty simple. So we successfully loaded all these three animations inside our variable. So now we can simply assign these animations to these elements. So now we have IDs. So this is A, we simply call it A. Okay, so what is this? Is a tagline. So we need to call these inside our Java file. Okay, now let's create the hooks. So hook can be created easily. The first one is first is equal to find view by id r dot id dot where is the first line. Okay, simply press D to duplicate the line 1 2 3 4 5 6. The last thing is to assign these elements, these animations to these elements. So it is also a simple thing. Simply call the element which is the first dot set animation, which is the animation. The first will use the top one, top animation. Okay, now we successfully assign all the animations to our elements, and first we created the animations, then we create the hooks, and then we assign these hooks to animations or animations to hook. Okay, let's simply test the project. Okay, now you can see it is animating when it loads. So now our animation is working. Let's test it again. So where is our file? Where is splash screen? So now you can see it is animating, but it is not going to the next activity. So for that, so now we want to make it a splash screen, so it cannot be accessed once our main screen is open. So we will create a simple variable which will be private static int splash timeout is equal to 500. Sorry, 5000. 1000 means 1 second and 5000 means 5 seconds. So what I want that our next screen appears after the 5 seconds of splash screen. Now we need a new activity, the second activity. For that, go to this folder, right click, go to new, and inside the activity we will choose the empty activity. So name it second activity and finish. So inside the design of our second activity, we will simply write a text view here. And make it second screen. Oh, this is the main screen appear after, you can call it a main screen as well. So this screen will appear after the splash screen. So this is the main screen, or it depends on your project. So now call that main screen. You know how we can go to the second activity from first activity, so we will use that procedure but inside a simple function. So simply now we need to call that activity inside this handler. This handler will okay. Now let's quickly add our variable. So it should be before, after this. Yes, it is after splash timeout, and after the bracket hit comma. So where we are getting the error because we are missing a bracket over here, and this one is the extra one. Okay, now we call this. So okay, now we call the next activity inside this handler. So this handler will delay this action or whatever the action it is and perform that action right after this time. So whatever the time is, so in this case, in our case, we are using the time over here is 5 seconds. You can change it to whatever you want. Okay, now our code is almost finished, so let's run the project. Okay, our splash screen is here and with animation. So after 5 seconds it is jump to the next screen with the top bar. Let's run it again. So if you have any questions regarding to this whole tutorial, you can ask me in the comments. So the source code is in the description. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe the channel for more videos. Take care. Allah Hafiz.